You go to the second floor now?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing? Mike was like a big teddy bear. He was somebody who always was willing to listen to somebody else, always willing to take somebody else's ideas and try to actually do something with it. He was motivated not only with himself, but within the community. And I mean, he was a teenager, so yeah, at times he had his down moments, but he was always able to lift himself and others back up. Honestly, not much has changed within the system. A lot has changed within Ferguson, Missouri, the community. We've actually elected three black women into the Senate offices and the judges' seats. So those people that make our everyday decisions, now we have someone we can trust in those offices. So that's a big change within itself because we didn't have that at first. But within the system, it's still the same, and that's the point of dismantling it.
Mhm. Do you think some of the people that you got into office, the assistants you're talking about, do you think they can make some real changes, Bree?
Oh, definitely. One for sure, her name is Cora, but she is already making changes. So, I mean, she was a frontliner and stood with us no matter what. And if you know her by doing that, then you know that she's going to do whatever she needs to do in order to help Black and Brown and Indigenous lives.
Nice. Um, could you tell us a little bit about what brought you out here to LA and a little bit about the dope movement?
Honestly, when I came out to LA, I wasn't even expecting to be in another national protest. I was honestly expecting to just come here and start a new life and just, grow up and do things that I wanted to do. And then here we are, George Floyd happened. And then it was just like they reopened my cousin's case and then they closed it. So it was like with all of that, I had no choice but to stand up and continue my fight here in LA. But then I started Dope Movement in 2014. And dope is a negative word, of course, but I switched it into a positive meaning. I turned it into determined opportunist call for educators. So it means that everybody is a determined individual. Everybody is an opportunist in some type of way where they are gaining something that's positive or beneficial to them. They're also powerful by any means and any measure because we're all able to do what we need to do in order to accomplish our goal. And we're all educators. We can all teach each other and learn from each other.
Nice.
I like that. Uh, the first time I saw you out here in LA, it was in Beverly Hills, and you were there with Black Future Project, James Butler, and one of the clips we had there, it went viral. You know, everyone was shouting "Eat the rich," abolish capitalism now. One of the ceremonies you kind of did was also you lined up everybody and you asked them, why are you here? You asked them, each person, why are you here? I'm curious about the strategy these protests? You said that you employ that strategy before. You ask people why are they there. I just want to hear more about those tactics. Hello?
The sound was cut.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Now we can.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's good.
So no, having strategies is very important in any protest. Just strategizing in general, and by using tactics against the enemy in order to, whether that's to diffuse the situation or whether that's in order to show them that we are being peaceful, it's needed. But asking people and knowing what their purpose is about being out there is also very important, because then you will be able to weed out who is going to actually cause problems and who is actually going to lead a peaceful protest with you.
Nice. Is it important to have a peaceful protest and not have agitators? Because you have a lot of people who join these protests who are not even part of the organization, not even part of the movement, but they kind of just tag along to cause problems. And it sometimes can ruin the message of the dope movement or the Black Future Project or, Black Lives Matter. We just see these people come along. Is that important for you to find these people and make sure they don't get involved? Or
Yes, of course. And then do not be fooled, but there are also agitators within these organizations.
Absolutely.
There are organizations that are full of agitators that are built off agitating and infiltrating the message and the clear demands of what we want. So even some of these organizations that come up with different names to act like they support Black lives, you have to be very wary and very cautious of those, because you don't know what their true meaning and purpose is.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think of the Black Lives Matter movement nationally and in LA? And what could be improved inside that organization?
To be honest, I really don't give a fuck about it.
Really?
Black Lives Matter is built off of money and gaining money from the community. If you date back to when Black Lives Matter was started, it was started by a transgender African American. It was then bought out by a white man, and it has been basically publicized as a hashtag of gaining and just overseeing the community by any measure. They have not gave one dime back to the community. If you go into communities, you will not see anything that is being supported by Black Lives Matter besides when it's due to being on television, having that 15 minutes of fame. So I honestly can say I don't support Black Lives Matter. I support Black Lives Have Always Mattered. That's not a movement, a hashtag. That's just something that we always have been going through, and that's something that will always be relevant.
Yeah, interesting to hear that. I mean, I've heard kind of James Butler say the same thing about Black Lives Matter, the organization. A lot of people have started paying attention to economics now at these protests. When you participated in that protest in Beverly Hills, they also talked about economics. How do you feel about capitalism as a system, and what are your ideas for a Black Wall Street?
So my ideas for Black Wall Street is basically to turn every city and every state and every block into a Black-owned or brown or indigenous business. The reason why is because we are the rich. We make the rich rich. We are the money. We make the money in this system. And the best way in order to gain 100% profit and in order to better your community, you have to work within your community. That means you have to give your community funds. Your community will give back. If everyone was off the streets and in a better position, we would have no need for the government or for anything that they would offer, any stimulus checks, anything like that, because we will be supporting each other. But because of people being greedy and thinking that the government's little meaningless money is good enough for that like moment of history, it's ridiculous, because you're not benefiting. Every time we get locked up, we're feeding that money right back into the system.
Yeah.
Every time you steal, you're feeding that money right back to the system. Anytime you get pulled over, anything that deals with breaking the law or anything that deals with having to give taxes or anything, you're giving that money right back. Think about how excited we get. We make over hundreds of $1,000s a year. We get excited about getting $2,000 to $3,000 at the end of the year for taxes when we've already made double that. But we don't ever see it because it's already spent before we even touch it. And we already have taxes that are taken out before we even touch it. So it's like no matter what, you're working and you're still a slave of the government. We thought I work for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts and your opinions on Malcolm X and the Black Panther Party, the old school Black Panther Party? I'm talking like the Fred Hampton style, and like Malcolm X back in the days, post Mecca of sorts too as well.
I love it. I actually, I don't go by everything that each leader back then said, but I definitely take majority of what each leader said, and I combine it with everything, my knowledge, their knowledge, people before them. The reason why I said it is because in Ferguson we had the Black Panthers actually helping us. They were protecting us. They were policing. They were our police. They were policing their community, which is what they did back in the day, and that is needed. Policing ourselves. We started a organization in Ferguson called Cop Watch, and it was just young individuals, young males watching our neighborhood. That is what is needed in order to let people know that you can't continue to do what you're
doing. A lot of people, there's two main issues right now. There's the race issue, and then there's a class issue that we're seeing come to the forefront right now. And do you think that we can fight both issues at the same time, or do we need to fight one issue first and then the next one after?
We can fight both at the same time, but it has to be the entire community. It has to be nationwide. It can't just be one state. So that is why my purpose is to meet the demands here in LA, and then to travel amongst all the cities and all the states and meet the demands everywhere else. Because if you have the entire capital, the entire nation, basically having an uproar at the system will fall. Yeah. It will have no choice. It will be under too much pressure of the people.
Yeah, I hope we get there. What's your opinion of a lot of the politicians right now? It seems like a lot of them are not doing their jobs. And just yesterday, we had Kamala Harris picked for vice president, the guy who authored the crime bill, and Kamala Harris, who was the DA who threw so many people in jail, especially men of color, for smoking marijuana. What are your thoughts about a lot of the politicians out there right now? I know we got a big win in Cori Bush, and we're all about Cori Bush over here, but the rest of them, and in particular, what do you think about Kamala Harris getting picked?
Oh, yeah, politicians.
Yeah.
Fuck them. Yeah. They not doing shit beneficial. They're not. I would rather have people that I've been living around for my entire life than have people I've never met. And it's just how it is. And that's the point of getting the people in the community in those seats.
Yeah. Yeah. Cori was on the front line. Now she's in office. What about though?
Not gonna make it. Not gonna make it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, I don't lie, I don't sugarcoat. If you've been around me, which both of you, well, one of you all have, then you know. By me speaking, I'm real as it gets. Not gonna make it. Biden, not gonna make it. Trump, we already know, never gonna make it again.
No. Yeah. So is it none of the above?
None of the above. That leaves the community to fight and to demand to be in those positions.
That's right. I feel like it's a show, the political system right now. It's like a show, and like really, if you look back in history, the way they got real change was on the streets. And I want to applaud you for being a leader out there on the streets, and holding these marches, and all the phrases that you make out there. What does victory look like to you? We need to absolutely rethink public safety, right? So then Mike Brown doesn't happen again. What does victory look like to you?
Victory looks like defunding the police completely. That means no budget. You all don't need a budget. That means changing the education system, the history of it completely.
Yes.
People don't even know, kids don't even know their own cultural history. That is a problem. How do you expect them to grow and want to learn more? On top of that, you have the jail system. Inmates who were once inmates cannot even vote. We need the
Exactly.
votes of everyone. They should be able to vote. Then you have people that get locked up for peddiless misdemeanors or peddiless crimes. And then because they're not in a position to pay, they are held past their due time of being in that system. So then now they're put into the system and now they have a track record. They should be able to sign out on their own recognizance, especially if it's only for a misdemeanor. A petty little marijuana, come on now, it's
Yeah, yeah,
legal majority of the state.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
shouldn't be that way. So it's like it's so many demands that we have, but we've narrowed them down to a few, and it's the main ones that we need in order for the system, in order for the community to see what change looks like.
Yeah.
Do you think like completely like reimagining the police, like so the police system how it is right now, boom, gone, right? And starting with like a blank slate. Is that what you think?
Um, to be honest, I don't even think we need police. I think they just need to be a part of the community at this point, because it's more of a scare tactic now, and they're hiring people that are literally trained to kill and literally who have PTSD, which is a problem because they're not mentally stable to handle any type of frustration. I'm gonna give you an example. Yesterday, I was out feeding the homeless, right? And they came and roughed up a homeless woman and got ready to take her in. So I'm standing on the curb and I'm standing there, and of course I'm observing. I have my people there recording because this is not going to happen to where you're going to keep snatching homeless people up every night. Um, so when we seen that, we were standing there, and I'm not saying a word. I'm just looking because I'm real observant. And the officer, you can tell he was just frustrated. He was so mad. So because I was standing there reminding you, COVID is rapid. He has no mask on. The other two officers do, but he is the one who is detaining this female. Why is there no female officer? Number one. Number two, why you don't have a mask? Number three, he proceeded to tell me I need to back the fuck up and I need to get out his face. And everybody that knows me knows how I stood my ground. I said, I ain't going nowhere. Why you ain't got no mask? Why you ain't got no mask on?
Yeah.
And I literally stood there with my arms folded. And then he got mad, got in the truck, and drove off.
Ooh.
And it just shows you that they know that it's getting to that point. We're past tired, and nobody is scared anymore.
Yeah.
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 That's great.
You know, we had some people just agreeing with you on the chat, and when you talked about Black Lives Matter, Dan Levy left a super chat and said many corporations in the UK and the mainstream media have co-opted Black Lives Matter, agreeing with what you said, that the money doesn't really go back to the community, doesn't help anybody out, and that you're looking for people who are, you know, on the streets with you to get into those offices. And I just want to reiterate Corey Bush again. I think that was a great choice. Johnny, got anything else?
No. Other than you're doing great
And
work.
I'm sorry, can I add to what the comment was? So if you look at um, organizations like, okay, Dope Movement, it's a small organization, literally. It's very small. Even though I started in 2014, it began to grow over time. But you have Black Lives Matter, multi-million-dollar company, right?
Yeah.
They have multi-million dollars and haven't given us not one dime, right? But you have Dope, who has a limited amount of funds, including the founder giving majority of the money out of her pocket. And yet every dime that I have gotten, donation or out of my pocket, goes back into the community immediately.
Yeah.
And my community does not have a problem with it. The problem is I need some more support from the world and from the community in order to continue this change. You can't holler you want change if you're not helping towards that change. If you're not helping make a change.
Gotcha.
Exactly. And going along those lines, you're actually at the vigil. I heard you say that you would like people to donate because you're trying to get as many protesters as you can down to DC.
Yes, I am.
So
So
what?
I need people to donate, please, donate.
Yeah. So
I've
what is
started
that?
the GoFundMe.
What is that all about? Can you tell us a little bit about
And
that?
the dates, yeah.
Yeah, so on August 28th, they're going to be doing the anniversary of the I Have a Dream speech. So I feel like it's not only growth for myself, but growth for the people in the community that actually care about protesting and actually care about dismantling this system. It's a life-changing event. Even though we will not hear from the king himself, we will still be able to feel the presence of what he said when he was there. So, in order for me to do that, yes, I'm taking funds out of my own pocket, but I do need the help of my community to get majority of the community here to experience that, so they can understand the surreal of being out here in the streets and having our feet to this pavement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys, go on over to this Instagram over here, the Dope Movement. Find out Bree, help her out. Get on over to Washington if you can, and keep the movement going. Bree, anything else to tell the audience where they can go, what they can do? Any final messages and any love to Mr. Brown?
Yes, my cousin will never be forgotten. His name will always be remembered, as well as all of the other countless names we have lost. But also, I need the help of the community. So if you want to donate, you can check me out on Instagram at D_O_P_E_movement_. The link is in the bio. I have a GoFundMe. There's videos, there's pictures, there's the whole description, the whole nine yards, in order for you to know that this is real. What I'm doing is real. I'm not out here for the crowd. I'm not out here for the money. I'm out here to change, to make a real change. If you want to follow me on my personal Instagram, you can as well. It's JOUNTRE_IDGAF. Because honestly, I just don't give a fuck about a lot. So,
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, go over there to help out Bree. Help out the Dope Movement. She's boots on the ground. She's doing real work. We've seen her out there in action.
She is doing real work. I've been out there. I've been to many of these protests, and there's no BS when it comes to Bree. So please go support.
For Pasta Jardula,
Jonny.
we'll see you on the Convo Couch later. And Bree, dope activist.
Thank you so
thank
much.
y'all.
Thanks, Bree.